5, 4, 3, 2. What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Cross Media Show here on the Penultimate Conquest. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Eric Yin, and I will be your friendly neighborhood host for the evening. But before we get into our discussion today, we got a little housekeeping to do. If you are watching this on YouTube, please consider giving us a like and hitting that notification bell so you get updates on all our shows here, like the Penultimate Game Show, Marvel Mondays Initiative, the Cross Media Show, the one we're doing now, Stats on Stats, and Anime Nation. If you're watching this on Twitch and have Amazon Prime, you have a free Prime Gaming subscription. So take some of Jeffrey Bezos' money and give it to us. You got a free one. Please give it to us. Consider that. So we have a wonderful show here. Well, we're going to talk about DC Fandome. It was this past Saturday, and a lot of fun things to talk about. So before we get into that, let me introduce our guest for the evening. First up, he is the Italian master of film, Hugo Pena. Hugo, how are you?
I'm doing great. I'm excited to be on the show. Thank you for having me on.
I'm very excited to have you here. Fun. Very excited. I've wanted to have you on this show for a while because I know we're probably going to get you on here when we do our Matrix stuff later in the year. So
hell yeah,
definitely. Next up, the queen of positivity herself, Jessica Sanchez. Jessica, how are you?
I am doing so good today. Eric, how are you?
I am fantastic. I'm having an Arnold Palmer right now, a little tea lemonade. I'm excited.
Ooh, I have a ginger ale. Just not to start shit, but it's the superior ginger ale.
Canada Dry is superior. That is the superior ginger ale.
And walk away, Kelsey can eat it. What
was the other one? Which one she do? Like Seagram's or something? I don't even know what it was. It was so inferior. And last,
I don't even know if you can buy. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I don't even know if you can buy ginger ale over here. So,
oh, you're missing out.
That's my take.
And last but not least, the president of the Tom Hiddleston fan club, my wife, Tessa again. Dear, how are you?
Now I see why you said don't look at it. It's fine. I'm good.
How have you been since in the last 30 minutes? I didn't see you since I went in the PC room. You good?
I'm good.
You need anything?
So that was nice.
Okay.
No, I'm good. I have water.
Okay.
Snacks.
Okay. All right. Before we get into the news, what has everyone been watching? This is a show about movies, TVs, and such. So, Jessica, I'm going to start with you. What have you been watching lately?
Watching two very different shows. I finished both of them this week. I finished Ted Lasso, which was my first watch through, and Midnight Mass. So,
too bad.
Same vibes.
If you're getting too happy, you have to watch Midnight Mass to balance it out. So.
Oh no, Ted Lasso was the balance there. Midnight Mass I binged in 2 days, which was not the correct way to do that. But I did. And I loved it, but I'm from Texas, and I'm sure you guys, being from the South, you know that hymns are an unavoidable part of life. They're just everywhere. So, yeah, that was one thing that stuck with me through after finishing that show. So I'd be watching Ted Lasso afterwards, like, man, I need some joy. Give me some joy in my life. No spoilers, but yes, this makes me happy. And then all of a sudden, son of a. So, yeah, nice. It's been a weird week.
Those are two very, very different shows. Like I said, paternity leave coming up for us soon, so I definitely got some stuff to watch. So Midnight Mass is definitely on that list. Tessa, dear, what have you been watching? Even though I already know, but let the people know at home.
Not Midnight Mass, because I saw there was some animal stuff in there, and I can't handle that. So, but that being said, I've been rewatching Daredevil because I never got past season 2. Jessica, you're making a face. Did I say something wrong?
Oh, no, I was trying to think about the animal stuff. It's
like there was violence against cats, especially apparently, and yeah.
Yeah, it's end of the first episode, beginning of the second episode. It's 5 minutes.
Okay. I don't know. I'm an emotional mess right now, so maybe not until after.
That's fair. Okay.
But I've been rewatching Daredevil because I never got past season 2 because no matter what, I always dislike Elektra. She bores me, and anytime she's popped up, I just drop off. But other than that, I am going to be watching season 3 of You after. That's my next show to plan to watch. So
I just saw a tweet that said if you watch You season 3 and pretend the main dude is Dennis Reynolds, it's a much better show.
Nah.
So.
No, I hate to say this, he's a lot worse than Dennis Reynolds.
Oh, that's
So.
saying something. Either way, Hugo, what have you been watching, my friend?
Well, I've been I've been watching way too many movies this month. I did a huge binge of Bond movies because No Time to Die was coming out, and also we did a Bond movie on the podcast. So there was a bunch of stuff like there, and then I got really into Watchmen as well at the beginning of the month. So I read through the comic. Then I watched
Hugo, what podcast is this that you're on?
Oh, I didn't want to be so blatant, but it's it's called Remember the Film. So it's me, Jeff Grizzldrick, who you might know. I'm not sure.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you guys know, but people listening might not. I don't know. And another friend of his, Josh Bradley, and we do a film club every week. And so we pick a film. We try to pick something that's underrated or underseen and talk about it every week. Anyway, so I watched a bunch of Bond movies, and then I got really into Watchmen. I read the comic, watched the show, then also watched like the ultimate cut on Christian's insistence, the ultimate cut of Watchmen, which is surprisingly good. And then I watched some more like indie stuff. I watched Dazed and Confused for the first time, and I just watched Nomadland yesterday.
Nomadland. Okay, all right. Christian's about to come through the wall any minute talking about Chloe Zhao here, so. Let's
spoilers.
So I have been watching Dark Souls 2 Let's Plays. That's all I've been doing. So yeah, watching the retry RKG guys doing it because they're just so great. Yeah. They're so great. Like
God, Mama Finchy and her kebabs.
Right, her kebabs just so good. We actually bought, I think when you could buy the paintings of all the Finchies, we definitely got Mama Finchy. So I'm excited. I'm excited to continue that because I forgot, like with pandemic and stuff happening, I fell off the Sekiro one, and so I know all the rest of those episodes are up. So I've been watching all of the games like in order. So I'm gonna get to that one. But all right, great. So a few more housekeeping things. Don't forget we have merch. Check out our website penultimateconquest.com. We got a bunch of gear. We just added some gear for our lit RPG show, Stats on Stats, so check it out. Speaking of which, there will be a new episode of that coming up soon, so stay tuned for that one. And don't forget to check out Christian's review of Jet, The Far Shore, as well on the website. He did a really good job with that one, so please support us on the website. So let's get straight into the news. So the first thing I got up here, the IATSE strike will not happen as a new deal is in the works. That's really good. And a lot of people on the internet were like, oh my God, how's this going to affect all our Mandalorian stuff? Like, that doesn't matter if people aren't getting paid and working conditions aren't well. So I think just genuinely across the board, this is just a really good thing that this is happening. I think they get much more time on weekends. They get an increase in pay, safety stuff. I haven't read the whole thing, but that's always good when people get paid for doing their work. So, wonderful news.
Yeah, basically, they were striking because that some deal was up and they wanted an increase in minimum wage. I think they wanted more off hours between shifts and increased pay for the news services, because I think one of the big issues was how, streaming affects how people get paid in the industry, because all the old contracts were based on, either cinemas or TV.
Yeah.
And so that was one of the big sticking points. And yeah, I'm happy this is happening. If the strike did go on, I would support it.
Yeah, of course.
Very strongly, because they deserve to get paid for what they do.
Yeah, there's already so much stuff to watch. So.
Yeah.
What'd you say, Jessica?
And safe working conditions. That turnaround time between when they had to go home at night and when they were expected to be there in the next morning, unacceptable. That's like, right to work style places that shouldn't exist in a place where, like California, where we have very strong labor laws.
Yeah. I think I read there has to be a minimum of 10 hours in between work times, shift times. So that's good. So anyway, that's wonderful news. This is not movie or TV related, but today we found out Elden Ring did get delayed, which is sad. It's a month. a week after
Yep.
Horizon Forbidden West, so that's going to be a fun week for me. But yeah, you can sign up for the technical test now. But enough about video games, which, we'll talk about a few later. But some box office numbers this past weekend. Ridley Scott's new film, The Last Duel, underperformed heavily at the box office. Made about, I think, $5 million domestically, which is not great. With what'd you say, dear?
I was gonna say, what was the budget again?
About north of $100 million, I believe. Which, if the first weekend is any indication of how that film's going to perform, that's not good.
Yeah, no, they're already writing it off as a big loss because there's no way it makes the budget back.
Yeah, because
I'm sorry. Was I the only one put off by the hair in that trailer, though?
like Ben Affleck's hair.
No,
Yeah, and Matt Damon.
Matt
like,
Damon,
their hair
yeah,
was
looks
so off-putting.
ridiculous.
Like, I didn't even want to look at their faces because their hair was so bad. But anyway, I'm sorry. That was just a small side note.
Yeah,
It reminds me of
still
when
pretty
Matt
sad.
Damon played Loki in Thor Ragnarok. It was like that level of like, this wasn't on purpose.
Or like, I don't know if anyone else watched the season finale or series finale of Supernatural, but that god awful wig they put Sam in for his older appearance was just really laughable. It was kind of that same level. But anyway,
Adam Driver didn't need a wig because he already has majestic hair, so that's all I need.
His hair did look great.
Adam Driver, man.
What a
He can do
dude!
no wrong.
What a guy! And also, Halloween Kills had a really good. I can't believe I said that. Had a really good opening weekend of $50 million, which in like pandemic times for a horror movie, that's actually really good. No matter what, it's been very critically divisive on the internet, but still, like $50 million with also a hey, you can watch it here on Peacock. That's a really good opening weekend. So props to them. Haven't had the chance to see it yet, but I look forward to seeing it soon. But it's always good when films do well at the box office. So I also, I skipped over it. So Disney announced today a huge plethora of delays coming to their films. Couple here, big ones, a lot of Marvel ones. So Doctor Strange is getting delayed 2 months. From March 25th to May the 6th. Thor Love and Thunder is getting delayed 2 months. Black Panther Wakanda Forever is getting delayed 4 months. Indiana Jones film, I don't know why we need a fifth one. Oh my god. Getting delayed a full year, which is wild. An untitled Disney live. I'm sorry, Hugo, go ahead.
Like, Indiana Jones has already had something like 5 release dates. Like, it was set to release in 2019, then 2020, and then 2021, and then Spielberg left, and then I don't know if that's going to come out, to be honest.
It'll be perpetual just delay until straight to
I think if
DVD.
a certain amount of money on it by this point, they're just going to be determined to
For
put it
sure.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll probably have to. They probably spent $50 million on Harrison Ford alone for that. So
Yeah, and I feel like them signing on James Mangold means it is happening. It's just like keeps getting it delayed.
yeah. So an untitled Disney live action film. Oh, Jessica, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I understand it's a bummer that things are still being affected at this point, and it is a bummer that these things are moving. But at the same time, my concept of time has become non-existent. So if you had asked me this morning, when are those movies coming out, I would not have been able to give you a solid date. And so, bummer, but also I'll see them when I see them.
Of course, yeah. Another few ones. The Marvels movie with Captain Marvel and Monica Rambeau is getting delayed a few months, getting pushed to 2023. Ant-Man the Wasp is being pushed 5 months in 2023. There are 2 Marvel movies that are being removed from the schedule, which is strange. And a couple of moves. I think I read about this earlier that it's due to a lot of how the creative process is now. They're moving these dates along. But, I guess we'll see. All we have left now is Spider-Man. Spider-Man is still there for us, everyone. He'll always be there for you. Just don't expect him to save you if you're on a building or something. So, anywho, yes, that is the news. And The Eternals premieres tonight. So, again, Chloe Zhao, again.
Can I do a small flex?
Oh, please flex.
The actual tonight is the premiere in Hollywood, and it's an invite-only event. But on Sunday, they are doing the first public screening of the film at the Rome Film Festival, and I got a ticket, so I'll see the movie 5 days from now.
That is awesome.
Yep,
Exciting.
very excited.
Oh man, I'm really jealous of that.
Yep.
Tess, are you good? I know that was like your most anticipated movie the rest of the year.
I'm good. Yeah.
Okay, so.
I think it's really weird that I'm looking forward to that more than Spider-Man, but yeah.
Hey, it's okay.
Yeah. I mean, same to be honest, but we'll see.
All right. Does anyone have any thoughts on the news or anything before we get into the meat and potatoes of this show?
Not really.
Into the dome.
Time to get into the dome. That's right, Jessica. It's time to talk about DC Fandome. Happened on Saturday. So this is, for those of you who are not aware, DC Fandome is the online event that DC Warner Brothers puts on for kind of like a Comic-Con thing for them. And they talk about new updates for all films, TV shows, comics, video games, all that stuff. So, and it was a big one. I think it was a little bit bigger than last year in terms of like things happening. Remember last year we got the first look at the Batman and stuff about Black Adam, but this year we got a lot of footage, I think, this year. So I got all the major ones here, so we're just gonna go through each one, see how y'all feel about all of them. The first thing that came up is they actually showed Black Adam footage. The Rock out there being Black Adam, and the film is still on for July 29th, 2022. So did we all see this footage of Black Adam?
Yep.
Jessica, I'm gonna start with you first. What did you think of it?
So I don't know a lot about Black Adam, but the way for me that they were hyping it up and they're like, oh man, this is so exciting, Black Adam's coming, blah blah blah, this, and I'm like, a villain, you know? It was, but it's The Rock. Everybody's excited about The Rock.
Yeah.
I thought it was really funny that they were like, oh, he's been really getting his body into Black Adam shape. I'm like, how is it different from his normal shape?
He's already huge. Why does he need to be bigger?
Did you notice when they actually showed him, you could tell that there was something, either the costume or some CGI that made him look even bigger than he already is? Or was that just me?
No, his chest was huge.
Yeah,
like
it's too much.
Oh my god, there was moments where like, oh, that looks weird.
Honestly, when they showed him working out and stuff and like doing all the flexing and stuff, I was like, he weirdly looks smaller than he used to be. Like he got leaner, and then they showed him in the costume. I was like, ah. But yeah, so
I think an interesting thing about this is that Lawrence Sher is doing the cinematography for this film, and they also did Joker. So I'm wondering to see how this film is going to look, because it's probably, going to have these very giant open depictions of like an Egypt style setting. So I wonder how that's going to look. And like Pierce Brosnan is playing Dr. Fate. It's going to be like he would say, like, I've done 4 Bond films and this is the craziest thing I've done. I'm like, you kind of went to the moon a few times, Pierce, in those movies. So, hey, we'll see how it is. But Black Adam, yeah. Tessa, was that you?
Oh yeah, I was going to say the Bond films he was in was how long ago? I mean, things have changed. It could be a little crazier.
It's true.
Yeah.
But
I'm very in for Pierce Brosnan as this weird character. I love the beard that he's rocking. He looks ridiculous, but in a great way. I like that guy. He's not in many great movies, but I'm always happy to see him pop up.
He is fun to watch, even though he cannot sing, as we found out in Mamma Mia. So that's
He cannot.
All right. So next up, we got some new looks at Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. Still on track for December 16th, 2022. Not a lot of footage here, a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff. We got some new concept art. We got the new Black Manta suit and the new Aquaman suit. And James Wan talking about how this is going to be more of a globe-trotting event than the first movie. Looks very colorful, which I like. Jessica, were you a fan of the first Aquaman movie?
Okay.
This is safe. This is safe. If you didn't like, it's okay.
I have a very low bar when it comes to what I think a good movie is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, did I have a good time? Yes, it's a good movie. Which, you know, you talk to Jake about that, my partner, and he will argue about whether I have good taste or not. But I did have fun with this movie. I did think that the story was a bit all over the place, and it was very like, oh, plot point, you know. But I think that Jason Momoa is a fantastic Aquaman. I think that he really brings an energy to the role that makes it fun to watch for a character that honestly not that many people cared about in the first place. So, you know, is it on the level of, let's say, you know, an original Iron Man movie? No. Better than Iron Man 2? I don't know. But I'm gonna.
It's a fun time. It was a fun time. I remember when we watched the movie, I'm like, oh, this is really fun. Not great. It was fun to watch. A giant adventure throughout the world. Hugo, did you like Aquaman?
I think Aquaman's fine, but like my favorite part of this presentation is where they were hyping up, oh, this is going to be a globetrotting adventure and lots of crazy actions. Like, I feel like that's what the first movie was.
Yeah.
They're not really telling me why this is different. But and also like a lot of the same characters coming back. I'm not quite sure what they're doing with it. But my favorite part of the actual presentation was when they just showed Jason Momoa being really excited about this, and he was like, oh, this is, you know, this movie is tackling a lot of issues environmentally, and I was like, cool, dude, that's you just. And my favorite part is that he was just in Dune, which is like one of the great environmental sci-fi epics of all time, and he's like, yeah, this is Aquaman is doing it though.
Hey, I'm happy really that funny. He's happy.
Yeah.
So that's
like, he's always fun. I really like him. He just has a fun vibe. I'm into him.
Every time Jason Momoa comes like on the screen in anything, I always make sure I say, Tessa, are you good? Are you good? You okay? So I know she's excited for Aquaman. Isn't that right, dear?
Yeah, I'm hoping that they use Patrick Wilson a little better for the second one because I love him so much. And obviously he wasn't used very well in the first one. But yeah.
He's a classically trained opera singer. Just give him like a musical.
Have him sing to fish. It's still wild that Aquaman is the highest grossing DC film. Like, that baffles me. Like,
is it really? Is it like DC EU?
No, just DC. Like any DC film ever for a DC character is the highest grossing. I think it beat Dark Knight by like $100 million. I think, which is wild. Because, I mean, that kind of movie is definitely, it's one of those, like, big popcorn budget action movies that, you know, like, Chinese audiences go crazy for. Like, that's why, like, the Fast and the Furious movies make so much money is because of, like, China and stuff. So I think that could be why it made so much money. But, yeah, I'm excited. Aquaman, Lost Kingdom looks fun. Anything with James Wan, I'll watch.
I do want to say one thing, just because I feel like it has to be touched on. I am curious to see if their numbers are reflected by the fact that they kept Amber Heard in their film. But yeah, I did find it interesting because I kept telling you that whenever they showed like the little bit of footage they showed, I was like, they literally are showing her for like 2 seconds at a time, and they're focusing everything they have on like Jason Momoa, and like it's almost like they're trying to like distract because they know it's still a hot issue. But yeah,
we'll definitely see. But the next big thing we had the new Suicide Squad game from Rocksteady. Got a new story trailer there. I thought it was fun. No new date given, still 2022, even though I think it's going to get pushed because, you know, Gotham Knights and Suicide Squad in the same year. I think that'll be interesting. The only tidbit of information I saw with this one is that Wonder Woman in the game appears to be the only Justice League member who's not Brainiac. That's what I'm calling it. So that'd be fun to see. I'm excited. It's weird to think that this is still in the Arkhamverse, Because I know they had that. Yeah,
it is quite weird.
Like they had that one shot of the Batmobile. I'm like, who the fuck is driving that? So
I don't know. And the thing is, like, it really, I felt some tonal whiplash compared to the Arkham games with this, because it's like it's so completely different, and I don't understand how this is in the Arkhamverse, but then Gotham Knights apparently isn't. Like, it's weird.
It's a strange one, because I think that I'm excited for like a new take, like for them to try something new, not like dark and gritty and stuff. But the thing I'm concerned about is we haven't seen any gameplay for this yet. Like Gotham Knights, we saw gameplay for at least, so we know what that game's going to be like. I have no idea what Suicide Squad is going to be like, but we'll see. Maybe they'll have something at the Game Awards. Who knows?
I can see that.
Would make sense. And also, this is the games as a service game. Yes?
I think so.
Well, I mean, they're saying it is, you can play it solo or you can play it 4-player co-op, and it's not very clear whether it will be a games as a service or just like a co-op game, but I don't think they're communicating that very well.
It's hard when you just talk about it once a year. It's hard to get new updates on that, because at least like Gotham Knights, we're getting something every now and then, even if it's just a casting or whatnot. But yeah.
I'm curious to see if it ends up like an Avengers situation where you can play online, but you can also play just by yourself.
I think they did
and
confirm.
You can still switch characters back and forth as you want.
I think they did confirm it's going to be like that, where you can play the whole thing solo and you have your 3 squad mates with you. So,
yeah.
Well, something I just thought about as we rewatched the trailer is that they have a new Floyd Lawton, which I don't know how they're going to explain, since Floyd Lawton already existed in the Arkhamverse. So it'd be interesting to see how they did that.
What if they just show his head being blown off in the beginning?
Like he wasn't the real Deadshot or something? Well, I guess we'll
yeah.
All right, next up, we got a new look at the Peacemaker trailer with John Cena, and that just looks so fun. I really liked Peacemaker and the Suicide Squad, even though kind of an asshole. But especially the shot with the eagle, the CGI eagle hugging him, I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna have a blast with this. So let's go around the table here. Hugo, what did you think of the Peacemaker trailer? And did you like the Suicide Squad?
I really did like the Suicide Squad. I mean, it's my favorite DCEU movie. So I really enjoyed that, and I feel like he was great in that movie, and I think the character and just the take that James Gunn brought to this character is good enough to carry a TV show. My only thing with the show is like it looks like a TV show in a way that the movie cinematography was so striking, and I did notice that a lot. Like it does look a bit flat, and to be completely fair, the Marvel TV shows I have the same complaint about. Oftentimes they don't look amazing, but I don't know. It seems like more of a comedy type show, so I don't know if that'll be too much of a drawback.
What I think is interesting if they do go more comedy, because when he was in the movie, like he had a bunch of funny stuff. He was, I think, with Bloodsport seriousness, Peacemaker was always there, like lighten the mood. So I'm interested to see how he has a whole show with that. I know they're going to bring in Vigilante. And I'm interested to see what other DC characters they bring in. Jessica, what did you think? Same questions for you. Did you like the trailer, and did you like the Suicide Squad?
I loved Suicide Squad. I thought that it was a lot of fun. I thought that they really balanced this tone of like this crazy, hyper-violent, ridiculous, superhero movie, I guess, with just a comedy that doesn't take itself very seriously. Is very James Gunn. I'm really excited about Peacemaker. What I'm concerned about is, Peacemaker left that movie in a very, very specific way. And I'm curious what they're going to do, what his arc is going to be for this show. Because the characters that they have him paired with look fun and look interesting. But I'm curious, especially when you bring in his father character. Like, I'm curious how this is going to come off as a.
I hope they have a scene where he was like very scrawny as a kid, and then it's just like he just turns into John Cena. I think that'd be great. Tessa, same questions for you.
Well, I loved the Suicide Squad, but also I had this discussion with you already, and yes, obviously, like, I'll get over it, but I'm gonna have a difficult time going into the Peacemaker show, being like, oh yeah, it's Peacemaker, let's watch this, let's root for him, because he did kill off probably one of the most redeemed characters in the Suicide Squad, so, R.I.P. Joel Kinnaman, but... yeah, I grew very attached to him throughout the movie, and then just to see him so brutally just done, I was like, okay, well, F you. But I will say, the Suicide Squad had one of my favorite scenes in a DC movie, which is the, oh, wait, where'd all the Rebel fighters go? Why didn't anyone alert us? Wait, what? And you just see the arm come out. But anyway...
Which is wild that you mention it, because like if you would have told me like 2016 Rick Flag would be loved, like if you so after Suicide Squad, if you're like, oh yeah, people are gonna love this character in about 4 or 5 years, no way, no way.
They
Oh
really
shit.
redeemed him though in the second movie.
It did a lot. I hated him. I was talking a lot of crap about him in that first. Well, even just the first like 20 minutes of the movie, I was talking a lot of crap, and yeah, they brought him back. I was upset at the end.
Yeah. Like in the first movie, he was barely a character. He was like, oh, I'm here to deliver the plot. I'm here to be, vessel for, Waller, and I don't really matter. I'm just out of here. So it's like, I don't know, the fact that James Gunn managed to take a movie that no one liked and make all the elements of that movie great in the new one is, I think, really impressive.
I think also too, my opinion was kind of shaped because after I watched the first Suicide Squad, I was the same. I was like, he's a mop of a character, whatever. And then I watched Altered Carbon, which does an amazing job in, and then I appreciated him more as an actor there. And then going into the movie, seeing that, I was like, oh hey, he's actually really good. But yeah, so
I just think HBO Max, just like with Disney Plus, is great for these for creative types, because you can literally come up with a bunch of stuff like, hey, I want to try this. Oh, okay, we'll make it like a 6-episode show. Yeah, if you want to try that, that's wild. Like we're getting a Hawkeye show where it's like, hey, I just want to go around New York and just do some deal with some mob stuff. Oh, cool. Here's 6 episodes. Go right ahead. Oh, I want to make a Peacemaker show. All right, here's 8 episodes. Try it out. And you don't have
to watch him dance in his tidy whities. I'm sorry I interrupted you, Eric.
No, it's fine. It's just it shows I think that even though sometimes if streaming services are okay, I think they really shine here because it'll give creative people a chance to really put some cool stuff out there. Like, I don't think we would have gotten a Peacemaker movie, but the fact that we're getting a Peacemaker TV show just shows how dedicated now studios are. Like, hey, let's see your vision. Because, even though, Suicide Squad didn't make, at the box office a lot, relatively speaking, I think a lot of people loved it. And so they're giving it more chances to, live on with these shows. And so I think that's really great.
And with DC specifically, they are kind of, I think it's a major theme of the fandom in general. They're kind of throwing everything at the wall to see what sticks, and they're giving a lot of different people the possibility of working with their property. It's kind of difficult to follow exactly what is canon with what and whatever, but it doesn't really matter ultimately because their movies are definitely improving, and I'm sure the TV shows will be good as well. So
absolutely. Another bit of note here, they did reconfirm, I think. They mentioned it last DC Fandome. That's a weird sentence to say. Last DC Fandome. This is common occurrence in life now. That the live-action Static Shock movie is still in the works. Michael B. Jordan is still producing this. Did everyone here watch Static Shock, the cartoon?
Nope.
Okay. All right.
Wow. Okay, well.
Jessica, you said you did? Oh.
Yeah, it was one of my standard Saturday morning cartoons that I watched every week. It was, he had an amazing outfit, and also every week was so interesting with the stories that they would put together. So Static is one of those characters that I've always wanted to see come back. And I was really excited to hear Michael B. Jordan's interest in it, and a little disappointed that we didn't get more.
Static Shock was great, like especially when the episodes like Batman came in. I thought that was awesome. It was just so nice, like seeing DC cartoon with a black male lead. Like at the time, that was revolutionary, and so I'm excited to see where they go with this because I know Static Shock's a very popular character.
And speaking of that, the Static Shock announcement or confirmation or whatever came with this, what do they call it? The Milestone Initiative, which is what DC are trying to do to improve their diversity. And so they're basically trying to tell more diverse stories with more diverse writers and directors. And apparently the Static Shock movie will have a very, mostly black main crew behind it, which I think is great.
That's awesome.
And Michael B. Jordan being interested in it certainly helps because the guy can move things along.
Yeah, he should be Static Shock, even though I don't know, he might be a little old to play the character, but maybe an older Static Shock, who knows. But yeah, that's great. Like, that's awesome. Speaking of awesome things, they gave Superman a new motto. Truth, justice, and a better tomorrow. I think that really stands more to the character than the archaic truth, justice, and the American way, because that's a we don't have time to get into why that's a whole smorgasbord of mess right there. But I think this new motto is great. So yeah, Superman is great. I think it's wild for me because if you had told me 10 years ago Superman would be in my top 5 favorite comic book characters of all time, I'd be like, you're crazy. But oh man, the things they've done this last decade with Superman have been fantastic. So just a little tidbit there. First big movie, I guess Black Adam, but one I was looking really forward to, The Flash. We showed our first footage of The Flash, got like a 70-second teaser. Michael Keaton, baby. Saw them bat ears. I'm very excited. Even though I don't like the Burton movies, I did like Michael Keaton's Batman. So I'm very excited for this. What did you guys think of the Tessa? I'm gonna start with you. What did you think? Because I know you watched it with me.
Well, I don't know. I know a lot of people have an issue with it. A lot of people don't like Ezra Miller in the role because they say he's really awkward and kind of uncomfortable looking and so on and so forth. I kind of like that about it because I feel like it kind of fits him in a weird way, especially being more newer to his role as the Flash. It's not like he's been established for 10 plus years like he is in the Justice League cartoon, and even then, because people compare it a lot to that, I've noticed. They're like, he's so smooth talking, and I'm like, no, he really isn't. If you go back and watch his dialogue is awful and awkward there too. But I really like the suit that they gave him. I think that looks really nice. I am gonna get a lot of hate for this. I don't necessarily like Michael Keaton as Batman, so I think it's cool that they're doing it, but it's also kind of lost on me. It's not like I'm like, hell yeah, Michael Keaton's Batman. It's great to see it. It's fine. It'll be fine. But yeah, I think it's going to be really fun from what we saw. But yeah, so
all right.
I don't have a lot on that. I don't have a lot of opinion.
Gotcha. Jessica, what'd you think?
So I had kind of this had fallen off my radar a little bit. I was aware that it was coming, but just all of the production delays and all of the weird issue. Also, sorry about my lighting. The sun's going down.
Oh, it looks like an album cover right now.
Cool. So, I was kind of back and forth, but when this became, I just had a brain fart. A Flashpoint story. When I was aware of that was where they were going with it, what they were going to be doing with it, then I'm suddenly I'm back in. It's such a fun story, and anytime you do any in-universe time travel, that always starts off, you've got so many things you could be doing with it, which is, I guess how we get Keaton. Maybe? I don't know. We'll see. We don't know that that's Keaton with the ears. We just, we think
gotta be that, right?
It's really Val Kilmer. No.
Oh my god.
He's George Clooney. Give me George Clooney, please.
That would be
I will
great.
like if they do a George Clooney joke, like they should just pay him for one scene where he just puts the costume on again and he just speeds past him. Not you, no need you.
Or they just show the
Exactly.
suit with the bat nipples, and that's
You
it.
just see the
Oh,
yeah,
yes.
God, that's it. Our brains just both went there. I love you so much. No, yeah, but anytime you have anything, kind of multiverse-ish, I'm always excited. I love the possibilities that it brings up. So I'm excited. I'm about Ezra Miller, but I'm curious to see what happens. And I think it's going to be, again, low bar. I think it's going to be a fun time.
All right. Hugo, what'd you think?
I think Keaton being back as Batman is awesome. I just think the imagery of the actual art design that they did with the Burton movies is so iconic that just bringing it back is instantly exciting, whether you love those movies or not. Like, I haven't seen them in 10 years, but I still, I have that image burned in my brain.
Mm-hmm.
On the movie overall, I feel like there's two scenarios when it's either like a really fun, interesting, weird adventure that they do where they hop in and out of different timelines, or they could use it as like a big reset of the whole universe and just make it a whole big 2 hours of setup for what will be the future of DC, and which I really wouldn't like. I hope they focus on telling a really fun story, and then maybe off of that they build other stuff later.
Yeah.
But what they showed seems fun. Is it just me, or is Ezra Miller playing two versions of Flash? It seems to me like he's playing himself as the younger version, and then there's another version where he seems older and more like sure of himself or something.
There were two Ezra Millers in that final shot with him. So
I do have one more thing to say about Ezra Miller. He had one of my favorite scenes in the Justice League film, even though that was also, a whole bundle of mess that we won't get into, which is whenever he goes to see Bruce and he sees the Batarang fly by, like the look on his face, the sheer like amazement and everything. Like, I just thought that was so perfect. But anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there.
So yeah, I'm very excited. Suit looks great. Let's go. That's all I gotta say. We also got some updates on the Blue Beetle movie and the Batgirl movie. They did confirm she will have red hair. She will have a cowl, which is exciting. And the Blue Beetle, that artwork they did for Blue Beetle looks really cool. So I'm excited. I'm interested to see how they're gonna get audiences up for a Blue Beetle movie. So hey,
I don't know anything about Blue Beetle, but I think I read they're doing the same thing where a lot of the cast and crew will be Latinx, and so I think that's already a step in the right direction, and they can probably tell a story that's more relevant to that character.
Yeah,
and hopefully they can make something fun with it.
Of course.
Yeah, Jolo Mariduena is my baby. He is my son. I have adopted him, and I am very excited for him to jump into this. He's got a lot of excitement about it. He's got a lot of passion about this. Yeah, Blue Beetle is not a super well-known character. But, if you look, and I'm not going to compare this to the beginning of Marvel, because obviously, it's not the same. There are two very different hands at work that are handling this. But a lot of characters that were not necessarily, A-team characters, like Guardians of the Galaxy, or stuff like that, have gotten new life with these movies. And I know it's a TV show, or is it a movie?
I think it's a movie.
Okay.
If I remember correctly, it's a movie.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know why I feel like it's going straight to streaming. I don't know.
We'll see.
But, I coming off of Cobra Kai, I'm hoping that that's going to bring a little bit of an audience as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm really excited about this. I'm all for more Latinx characters in everything.
Mm-hmm.
We're literally everywhere. Let's get some more of us on screen now.
Well said, Jessica. Next up, we had Gotham Knights trailer. We got a new trailer for Gotham Knights, and this looks just so good. Like, the Court of Owls stuff looks so freaking good. Oh man, I'm way more excited for this one than I am the Suicide Squad game as of right now, because Court of Owls is just fantastic. If you haven't read the Court of Owls storyline, please do. It's so good. Let's see. You got some updates for. I'm trying to speed this along here because there's definitely, obviously, one thing I want to spend a little bit more time on. The DC animated movies for 2022. We got a Catwoman Anime movie. It looks like that looks fun. I think Stephanie Beatrice is playing Batwoman, which I thought was fun. Constantine. There's a new Constantine movie coming out with Matt Ryan returning as Constantine. Very excited for that.
I'm not watching because it's not Keanu. Sorry.
Green Lantern, Beware My Power. Not much more about that than we know of. And then there's a new Teen Titans Go movie. Hell yeah. Let's go. I love Teen Titans Go.
Hold on. What about the fun little Aquaman cartoon?
Oh my God, that's right. They had like that.
That.
Yeah, they showed that little Aquaman thing, which you can watch now on HBO Max, and it looks fun. Looks like the Adventure Time people did it. I don't know.
The chair got me so much in the trailer. I'm sorry. I had to make sure you mentioned that.
Next up, we have first little footage of Harley Quinn season 3. I know the Harley Quinn show is very beloved, awesome. And we got new updates on Batman Caped Crusader, the TV show with J.J. Abrams, Matt Reeves, Bruce Timm, all them. Looks fun. Got that 40s noir style. Looks really interesting.
They're describing it as, I think, what's his name? Matt Timm, is it? No.
Bruce Timm.
Bruce Timm, yeah. He was saying, basically I'm going back and I'm pretending as if it was the 90s and I could do whatever I wanted with Batman again. But now, because J.J. Abrams is behind it, I don't really have any restrictions. So, like, this could be really, really good.
Mm-hmm. Especially if this is going to HBO Cartoon Network and HBO Max.
Yeah.
So hopefully, like, hey, you have do whatever you want to. He said, Bruce Timm said in it, it's more animated series than Batman the Animated Series. So I'm like, oh, let's go. Especially they said, like, there's no Justice League here. It's just Batman. I'm like, oh, yeah. Let's do it.
Yep.
Next up, we got a behind-the-scenes look at Shazam! Fury of the Gods. We got Helen Mirren and Lucy Liu as the villains, which I'm very excited for. That's going to be a fun time. Shazam 1, super fun movie. I think that was, like, for me, like, the turning point of DC films, where I'm like, oh, man, they're actually going in the right direction now. So, really excited for that. We got confirmation that Wonder Woman 3 is happening. Which, you know,
did we need that confirmation?
I don't know. Wonder Woman 84 really, oof.
Is Patty
like
Jenkins is still signed on,
yes.
right?
Yes.
So
like
regardless of what happens, it'll be quite a long time because, like, she's doing the Star Wars movie first.
Yes. So.
Isn't that something Jessica and I bonded on before? Or am I thinking of someone else? No, it wasn't. I thought it was you, Jessica, but it wasn't.
Well, to be fair, we have some brain cells in common, so it does, yeah, that does sound like something we would do.
So, I apologize. I got really excited for a second, but anyway.
All right.
I'm not going to do that.
So, Wonder Woman 3. All right. It's time. Okay, I've saved this for last, obviously, because they saved it for last. This is the reason why I had you guys on this show. It is now time to talk about the Batman. Because we got a new trailer for the Batman, some new behind-the-scenes stuff, and I'm just going to send it to you guys first to hear your thoughts. Tessa, I'm going to start with you. What did you think?
Oh, I think it looks beautiful. That final shot in the trailer was perfect. I will say I'm getting irritated with people saying that it's not realistic enough. Like, people are trying to say that, you know, he's running down a hallway with AK-47s firing. He was just walking it off. And I'm like, okay, if we can give suspension of disbelief to, you know, Marvel films, we should be able to do the same for DC films, first off. And second of all, he is a billionaire that dresses as a bat. I'm sure that he can figure out how to reinforce his shit so that he doesn't get hurt. But yeah, it looks really good though, and I'm really excited for it. I was kind of iffy on Catwoman, but this trailer actually made me appreciate that casting choice a little more. I will say that. But yeah, I think it looks really good, and it's looking real solid. The cinematography is really nice in the trailer, so I hope that carries over to the film.
I remember we were watching a trailer together. You were looking over at me because I was making like some weird guttural noises at some of the shots. Jessica, what about you? What did you think of the Batman trailer?
So I love the direction that they are taking this. I think the people who are like, "Oh, it's not realistic," out of one scene are like, "Okay, but did you see all the other scenes? Did you see all of the rest of them?" You know, it's the colors that they're choosing to pop against the dark, and you know, I'm a huge Zoe Kravitz fan. I think that she is going to do excellent as Selena Kyle. She wears those boots, man, she wears those boots. I'm very excited to see where this goes, and I'm excited to see how Robert Pattinson, I think he's got the Batman down. I'm curious how he's going to do, or how much we're going to see of Bruce Wayne. We haven't seen very much of that so far, and I know that they talked about that a little bit in this. Or wait, was that a different behind? It was this behind the scenes where they were like, Bruce Wayne is the outfit.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. You know, and I've spent the last few days watching reaction trailers or people doing reactions to this, and man, it's one of the few things that just brings me so much joy, just so much joy.
You mentioned that. I think it was interesting because they talked about like you could see in the trailer where he's like, I don't care what happens to me. Like he is definitely this is a Bruce that he does not. He is 100% about being Batman all the time now. He has no time for Bruce Wayne. He just uses that as the mask, which is how I prefer my Batman stuff. Like I prefer when he's Batman who happens to be Bruce Wayne, not Bruce Wayne who happens to be Batman. Like the Christian Bale movies, like I think those movies were about Bruce Wayne, and like he used Batman as a tool for like this one. I could tell with like how he makes the suit, like in the hallways when he's just taking gunfire straight up, like he does not care. Like he has made himself to where he is angry. He is going to come at you. He does not care if you shoot him or not. He's going to come to beat the crap out of you. So I really like that raw energy. So Hugo, what did you think?
Yeah, I thought this was great. And not to get too Martin Scorsese about this, but like I watched this and I was like, look, this is like the rest of this whole big thing was a whole bunch of content, and this is now they're showing what feels like they're just trying to do one film, and we're taking this character and we're having an interesting take on it. We are showing a level of intricate design in the way we set up our shots and the way we use our cinematography than a lot of the other CGI heavy movies maybe don't do as much. And in terms of just the character, like my first takeaway was like, oh, this Batman is really angry. Like this guy he feels like he has to do it, and it feels like a different take compared to Bale, because Bale, to some extent, as you said, he was basically using the symbol of the bat to achieve something larger. And this character feels like, oh, maybe he hasn't been Batman for that long, and maybe he's acting in anger more than having a specific goal. And the movie itself, I think but judging by the trailer, you might argue that maybe it's a little too close to Nolan in terms of style and in terms of having like a realistic approach, semi-realistic approach to the character. But I feel like it really manages to blend some of the more out there, like comic book ridiculousness that the Tim Burton movies had, like the fact that we have so many villains that are so very much the characters from the comics, in a way that the Nolan movies always tried to ground them and make them very much more realistic. And this does feel like it's taking the ridiculousness in a good way and putting it into a setting that feels gritty. I hate that word, but it fits. So yeah, this is really exciting, and it just looks fantastic. And I don't know what their plans with this are. I hope they're just trying to make one great film and then see from there.
I think they did say like this exists in its own thing, Like,
yeah, which is awesome.
That's why I think what they need to, because I know they said they want to make this, because I know they have like some, like a Gotham PD show they're doing for that, and I think they said they want to make more movies just with this thing. So like it's in its own contained thing. They're not going to have anything else come with it, which I think is interesting. Because I stand by this. I think Batman movies exist. Like, if you look at comic book movies as a whole, obviously you got the MCU and stuff, but like Batman exists as like its own thing. Like, even though if it's like DC, like Batman films are always an event. Like, if you look at how the Nolan movies were, when the Dark Knight came out, like, this is like, of course everyone's saying like it's not just a great comic book movie, it's a good movie, and I think that's what they try to do. They're just trying to make a good film about these characters. Like, you don't have to make it to where like, oh, he's part of the Justice League and stuff. Like, no, this is arguably the most complex character in all of comics. And what do you do? How do you show a different facet of this character? Like, we're getting a Riddler that's like Zodiac Killer, which I think is interesting. We're not getting super flamboyant Riddler, which I love super flamboyant Riddler. Like, that's fun. But Riddler, like, he is insane. Like, he wants people to guess his riddles. He wants to prove that he's better than everybody else. Which, like, this Riddler looks like he's going more after the corruption, which I know Matt Reeves, the director, talked about. Like, that's a big part of these movies, is like Gotham is corrupt. Like, that there's no escaping that, because like it's looking like he wants to make Gotham its own character, which is always very interesting.
Which is where, to some extent, the Nolan movies were lacking, because they forgot, like, in wanting to make everything as realistic as possible, Gotham just became New York, and there was nothing particularly unique about it.
Quick intervention, it became
Chicago, whatever. I'm not, I'm European. Give me a break. But I take your point. But it became generic, big metropolis, and there was nothing about that. There was nothing gothic about it. There was nothing particularly unique about it.
And I think that's like its strength here, is showing that this is a very corrupt place where like the people you think are there to help you are not. And I think that's what's just so interesting about it, is like Batman does not care which side of the quote unquote law you are on. If you were a council person, if you were if you're on the police, if you're a district attorney and you're bad, he's coming for you too. You don't have to be dressed. You don't have to have a stick. You don't have to be a supervillain. He's coming for you. And like, this looks, I mentioned, someone put it, they're making what looks like Batman. Like, if you look at it from everyone else's perspective, Penguin, this is the bad guy. Like, this is the boogeyman tonight. They're making Batman like scary again. Like, which I like, especially with the last shot, like flipped, and it's just he's walking and like the fire, and oh man, so good, so good.
And I think one thing that we've gotten a lot of, especially with the villains, and it rises and falls. I'm 36 years old. There's been Batman movies my entire life, and they range from the silly to the fantastical to the Dark Knight.
Mm-hmm.
And it's nice to be getting back into a more, I don't want to say like grounded for the villains. Riddler is scary, and he should be this threatening character, and Penguin as like this mob boss, that's who he always has been. He just kind of gained this, rather than like a nickname, he gained a theme.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure the animated series had a lot to do with that. That really was integral in a lot of us for who Batman is. So it's kind of nice to see this step away from that tone
mm-hmm.
to something where, I don't know, I can't get away from the Zodiac Killer vibe, because it has that feel to it. Also, lifted Charger Batmobile.
Oh yeah,
he made that car to mess stuff up.
Oh yeah.
I love
can we talk about how?
A
Sorry.
legitimate car. No, you're good. I was just saying, I love that it's like a legitimate car for once, and not just like a like a tank or like a really comical shaped semi like phallic vehicle, or you know, like it's nice to see like an actual vehicle, just really souped up and amped up. But yeah,
I think last two things is for me how perfect the casting of Paul Dano is, because I don't know if you've seen There Will Be Blood, but the just I get quiet, creepy vibes that the man is able to portray are, I think, perfect for what this version of the character is going for. And secondly, we talked about the cinematography, and the cinematographer for this movie is Craig Fraser. He shot Rogue One, he shot Dune, he shot Zero Dark 30, he shot Killing Them Softly, he shot Leon. Like, he only made beautiful looking movies, and I'm really excited to see what he does with this.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I literally was about to bring. Yeah, there's a reason why this thing looks so good is because Greg Fraser. But I just, it's so wild, like how crazy this movie is. Because I think Gene Park, writer for the Washington Post, talked about there is no such thing as Batman fatigue. Because I think for me, like, Batman exists in his own thing. Like, Batman, like, there's a reason why he's probably right there with Spider-Man as like the most popular just character ever in comic books. And it's just, you could go the cheesy route and say it's because he doesn't have superpowers, but it's that kind of goes into it. Like, this dude is just a normal guy, the normal quote unquote. But I think it's just Batman himself. You can make such quality movies with him, because I think with the other ones you have to deal with powers and stuff, whereas this one it's like, how can we make this as, I don't want to use the term boots to the ground, like, or grounded and stuff, like how can we make this as real as possible? But
he's more human.
Which, yeah, that I think that's good. I think that's a good thing. Batman, like, he just goes through so much. But oh man, I'm getting chills just thinking about this trailer. Oh my god, it's so good. And it's like I said, the Batman trailer last year was the best superhero content I'd seen in all of 2020. Stands with this one as well.
Old news.
Yeah,
Like, it's old news at this point, but the Something in the Way for the trailer, the song to go. Oh my god,
so good.
So well.
And without like getting too like crazy comic book stuff, I know like there's gonna be some shots where we're probably going to the Iceberg Lounge that Penguin owns, and just Batman is like, he just jumps down and just like starts taking the pipe and beating the. I'm like, oh my god. Yeah.
It's so weird to think who's under that makeup, I swear.
Right? It's so weird that that's Colin Farrell.
Yeah.
I hope this movie gets an Oscar nomination for makeup alone. So
I was gonna make a joke and be like, especially when Danny DeVito is still around and kicking, but But anyway.
But just the Batman was easily the star of the show. It's so wild that movie's in 1, 2, 3, 5 months. So it's crazy. I think Robert Pattinson is really going to do such good work with this, especially with like him being so young. Like, as I think he's 35. That's perfect. Like right around the time Batman starts, so he's got like this anger that he still hasn't gotten over yet. So fantastic. So let's wrap things up here. What final thoughts on The Dome? Jessica, I'm gonna start with you.
Thought that they did a lot this year to highlight diversity in comics, in movies, in gaming, and I thought that was a really cool thing to see, because we watched the whole thing, and there's a couple new books that I need to put on my wish list